Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ.com live recap of AEW Dynamite for Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. This was the go home edition of Dynamite, heading into the 2025 Wrestle Dream pay-per-view event. AEW was in Independence, Missouri this week. They will be in St. Louis, a classic wrestling town, this coming Saturday for Wrestle Dream. We opened up the show with footage from AEW Collision with Kota Ibushi suffering a broken femur. Unfortunately, things happen in wrestling. People get hurt, freak accident. He's out of action now for a very long time. We then had footage backstage, a sit-down interview, Renee Paquette talking to the women's champion, Chris Statlander, and Timeless Toni Storm. Kind of an odd way to start the show with a sit-down interview. And they started stripping. Renee even stripped as well, since the other two were. Toni basically questioned who is Chris Statlander, and Stat said that Toni hasn't been able to figure her out because she's always evolving. But Toni vowed to find out the truth about her at Wrestle Dream, and then they both stormed off. They went into the ring and started fighting. Toni did get the upper hand, and she had the women's championship. She was going to use it as a weapon, but then she decided not to. She handed the title back to Statlander, kissed her on the forehead. She wanted to make sure Stat was at her best for the pay-per-view. It was fine. It was a weird segment, but I'll give them credit for trying to do something a little bit different and outside the box, but it was odd. It was definitely a strange opening segment to the show, but that's typical Toni Storm. She's very unorthodox. Shout out to Caleb Jacobs, who sent in a $2.90 super chat. Thank you for that, Caleb. I appreciate it. It seems like Caleb really enjoyed Dynamite this week. He says, good final build-up for Wrestle Dream. Well, I'm not sure I completely agree with you on that, but stay tuned. I will give my thoughts on the overall build for the pay-per-view. We had our first match of the show. We had the Hurt Syndicate versus the Gates of Agony. I have to say, they were peaking early with this show, putting the Hurt Syndicate out there. GOA did get the upper hand. They were double teaming Bobby Lashley. Then Shelton Benjamin tagged in. Ricochet was on the outside. He interfered. He got knocked off the apron. Shelton Benjamin suplexed Bishop Khan, but then Toa Leona came in with the headbutt. Lashley then tagged in, and him and Leona went at it. They double clotheslined each other on the outside. MVP then somehow managed to get his cane in the ring, and the referee was getting rid of it. Ricochet then came in with a cheap shot, taking out Benjamin with the spirit gun, and MVP went after Ricochet, but the damage was done. Bishop Khan got the win. Gates of Agony, the Demand, whatever you want to call them, they scored the victory to build up momentum for Wrestle Dream. Now, going back to Caleb, he said it was good build up for Wrestle Dream. To me, it was very by the numbers. I don't really care about this match all that much because I'm over the Demand, quite frankly. I have no interest in them. AEW, Tony Khan, they're trying to make something happen with GOA, and I'm just not feeling it. It doesn't feel organic with them at all. It's like Tony Khan likes these guys and he really wants to push them, but I'm just not feeling them. I feel Ricochet has fallen off a little bit. Earlier this year, it seemed like he was maybe on the cusp of reaching the next level, but now he's just back doing the mid-card stuff. Hurt Syndicate, they're just there. AEW wants to push these guys, but not too much. So they're kind of just there in the middle. And really, I feel like Hurt Syndicate has cooled off a little bit since the MJF storyline was basically dropped out of nowhere. Like I was invested in that storyline, and then they just ended it. And now I hate to say it, I don't care all that much about the Hurt Syndicate right now. And to me, they were one of the highlights of Dynamite during the year. We had footage shown of Jon Moxley and Darby Allin at the New York Comic-Con, and they had some kind of a confrontation, and for whatever reason, it was in a prison conference room, those rooms where they have the glass separating the prisoner and the family member. Like, I guess because these guys are
style and substance in the GMC Sierra. Or get this low mileage lease on this Sierra Elevation for around $499 per month.
Shop security cameras this Halloween at Ring.com.
These are so out of control that they have to be kept separate. It was weird. It was another strange segment. You had the background ambience noise, like they were trying to make it cinematic. It felt like some kind of a low budget horror movie, and not in a good way. You have the usual Jon Moxley rambling. And apparently, Darby Allin has been considering the Death Riders, but he didn't like what they did to Bryan Danielson. And he talked about the flag on Mount Everest and how he's going to use it to wrap it around Moxley's throat. Both of them vowed to not quit. And then all of a sudden, Pac, not sure how Pac got credentials to enter Darby's room, if this is at a prison or whatever. I don't know. The whole thing makes no sense. Pac attacks Darby and they smear blood on the glass. I saw on social media some people liked it. To me, it was really low rent. It did nothing for me as far as hyping up this match. And by the way, Collision is on right now, which I refuse to recap because I feel like they don't put much effort in Collision. But they actually do have Jon Moxley out there right now interfering in the Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly tag match against the Death Riders. Daniel Garcia was tapping out, but Marina Shafir is on the apron distracting the referee. So I'm actually live recapping a Collision match right now. What the hell? I might as well, since it's going on. Well, there's Claudio. Claudio just uppercutted Kyle O'Reilly. Referee didn't see it because of all the Death Riders. And there we go. Daniel Garcia gets the win over Kyle O'Reilly. I had no interest in Collision. So when Dynamite was over, I clicked it off, but there you go. Jon Moxley's out there. Why he's on Collision, I don't know. But, they're trying, I guess, to maybe get people to watch Collision. But what's the main event? I don't even know what the main event is for Collision at this point. Now we got the post-match beatdown, which is something they do constantly. We always get the post-match beatdown every time. But let's get back to Dynamite with the recap. Oh, here comes the other guys from the conglomeration. I'll get back to that in a minute. Dynamite. We had Claudio going one-on-one with Roderick Strong. Match was fine, but didn't really serve much of a storyline purpose. It was just these guys going out there, having a wrestling match, so on and so forth. And Strong did get in some offense, but then Claudio hit him with the uppercut and got the 1-2-3 victory. Not much else to say about it. Back on Collision right now, we have Jon Moxley about to cut a promo, but the lights went out. Well, there's like a blue hue in the arena. Looks like we got, Wheeler Yuta has been attacked, apparently, by Darby Allin, I think. Oh, there's Darby right there. All right, so we got something with Moxley and Darby. Maybe I should have stuck it out a little bit, but they should have. Here's what they should have done. At the beginning of Dynamite, they should have said later on in the broadcast, during the third hour, Jon Moxley and Darby, they're going to butt heads. And maybe they did say something, but I don't recall. So they didn't do a good enough job. It should be hammered home repeatedly so people know, oh, Darby just got jumped by Claudio. Well, this will influence my opinion for the match, because I've kind of been back and forth with this I Quit match. Who's going to win, Darby Allin or Jon Moxley? So based on what happens, I'll have to give my prediction, which will be Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Now Pac is beating up Darby Allin. Let's get back to Dynamite. I got this on, so I'll continue to give my thoughts on the live Collision. Maybe I'll keep doing this. Maybe I'll recap Dynamite and then discuss Collision as it's happening. But yeah, Darby's getting his ass kicked right now. We had another odd segment. We had the Don Callis birthday celebration. They were in some room. They had a dining table, kind of looked like the Last Supper or something. I'm not sure what the hell it was. Don Callis explained that the family is growing because of power. More people, more power. And Takeshita was not there because he was in Japan challenging for the IWGP title, which he did win, and they showed the footage of that. But Takeshita wished Don Callis a happy birthday, and then the video cut off, and Okada said he pressed the button by accident. He was so sorry for that. So yeah, they're continuing that storyline at least. No Andrade again. I'm not sure what's going on with him, why he hasn't been featured or not even in a promo.
No way. Bang! Kobe! Pachano! 2 out of 5 emeralds! Holy! Yo!
We had, well, wait a minute. Before we get to that, Dave Scheffler sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Dave. I appreciate it very much. Dave says Bobby Lashley needs to move away from GOA and Shelton needs Cedric Alexander with him as a tag team again. I'm tired of them versus Ricochet and his GOA. Well, I presume that this will be the final match of the feud. And could we see Cedric Alexander? I know there's been rumors about him leaving TNA. Well, maybe we'll find out at Wrestle Dream. Perhaps there'll be something there. All right, back to Collision real quick. Darby, despite getting his ass kicked, has the AEW flag that he planted on Mount Everest. I don't know if it's the same one, but he's got an AEW flag, and now he's begging Moxley to finish him off. And Moxley just dropped him with the paradigm shift on the flag. This, with the sound off, looks better than that segment they did earlier. Like, this should have been on Dynamite when you have the most amount of people watching and not that weird ass. I don't even know why they did that. Like, this, to me, was far more effective than that prison cinematic promo that they did. But yeah, Moxley here getting the last laugh on Darby. Now, if you follow my channel and my streams, you know how I feel about that when it comes to predictions. But again, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll be doing our Wrestle Dream predictions. All right, back to Dynamite. We had a 6-man match. Don Callis family, which was Josh Alexander and Hechicero and Mark Davis against Jurassic Express and Kenny Omega. One of those matches where you know damn well who's winning this one. You got Alexander out there, so that should really give it away. They did the usual deal where Alexander tagged out right away, wanted no part of Kenny Omega. Bad guys got the upper hand for a while. Then Omega tagged in. So the question is, could Omega and Perry coexist? The answer was yes. Then Luchasaurus came in. He went at it with Mark Davis. We got the meat chants. Double clothesline. Then Omega back in. Callis got on the apron. Then Josh Alexander took advantage, but then Jack Perry saved Omega. Davis was going for a lariat, and Perry pushed Omega out of the way and took the blow. There you go. Jack Perry is a team player. Things broke down, and then the Jurassic Express did the Doomsday Device to Hechicero and got the 1-2-3 victory. Josh Alexander did not take the pin in this one. It was Hechicero. Match was solid. You know, they do have this storyline with Omega and Perry, but I'm still wondering, where the hell is Andrade at this point? I'm not even sure if they mentioned him on commentary. Somebody let me know in the chat if there was even a mention of Andrade. Like, why would Andrade not even be acknowledged or, you know, mentioned by Callis or somebody? I don't think they said anything about him. Very odd to me. We had post-match with the Young Bucks attacking Jurassic Express, but then Kenny Omega got in their faces and got them to back off. Then Jurassic Express fought back against the Don Callis family, and Jack Perry ended up coming over the top, wiping out pretty much all the bad guys that were on the outside. Next up, right at 9:30-ish, we had the women's match of the evening, Sky Blue versus Jamie Hayter. It was pretty good, competitive match between these two. You had Julia Hart out there providing a bit of a distraction, shielding her tag team partner, and Sky Blue did use that to her advantage. Oh, this is interesting. There's a WWE ESPN commercial on TBS right now during Dynamite, or Collision, excuse me. First time I've seen that. By the way, more ice commercials, so Hangman Adam Page cannot be a happy camper right now with that, but we'll move past that right now. Back to the women's match. Jamie Hayter started to make a comeback after the break. More back and forth action with the two of them. And then Hayter eventually got the win with the lariat, hit two of them to pick up the win. And like I said, it was solid. It was a pretty good match here with these two. Then Tekla appeared on the big screen, and she explained why she attacked Jamie Hayter. She said that she did it because Hayter was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. In other words, they got no real reason for it. They just had to come up with something. Somebody had to attack Jamie Hayter, and they couldn't really think of a good reason for it. That match is taking place at Wrestle Dream, and I'm not really caring about it that much. It feels like it's not really an interesting enough match to be on the pay-per-view. You know, you got 10 matches plus. This one doesn't need to be on the pay-per-view. Just saying.
No, I'm gonna put him in a leg lock. It's over. No.
Find your wins. New Amsterdam Vodka.
Just saying. We had our main event of Dynamite. But before we get to that, we had Mercedes Moné interviewed backstage by Renee Paquette. She has tied Ultimo Dragon's record for holding the most championships at one time, apparently. And now she's going to become the longest reigning TBS champion. I'm sure Matthew in the chat room is absolutely thrilled about this because he loves Mercedes Moné. He sure does. All right, main event. We had Hangman Adam Page on commentary, the world champion, making an appearance for LFI, Roosh, the Beast Mordos, and Dralistico going up against the Ops, which is Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs and Shibata. How do you say his name? Katsiora or something like that? I'm not even sure. I'm not even going to try to pronounce LFI in its full name. Anyways, they triple teamed Shibata, and then after the break, Hobbs came in, started to build up some momentum. Then Joe tagged in. We had things breaking down. It was a pretty standard trios match.